Meet Rayan. He's 25, works long hours at a local grocery store, and earns just enough to cover his bills while saving a tiny fraction of his income. Every morning, he wakes up consumed by a single thought. He wants to change his life. He wants to build wealth, master new skills, and escape to daily grind. Driven by this desire, he experiences sudden, intense bursts of energy. That bright flame of motivation flares up, and he feels entirely unstoppable. He reads the books, plans the business, and sprints forward, convinced that taking massive, exhausting action will finally break him out of his routine. But within days, the energy evaporates. The initial excitement fades into exhaustion, and the work starts to feel impossible. He stops what he started, slips back into his old routine, and waits for the next surge of inspiration to return. This is the motivation trap. It is the error of treating a temporary emotional state as a permanent operating system for success. Motivation is highly reactive, easily depleted, and entirely unreliable for long-term execution. This graph maps the exact cycle over time. The upper line shows erratic, extreme spikes and deep crashes of emotional motivation. Beneath it, actual progress toward building wealth remains completely flat and stagnant. Despite the emotional volatility, nothing physical has been constructed. Because motivation is a temporary guest, it will never yield permanent results. To actually build lasting wealth, you have to abandon emotional surges and adopt a framework that operates purely on mechanics. Seeking an answer, Rayan consults a wealthy local mentor named Mr. Damon. Damon introduces a perspective built not on feelings, but on mechanical repetition. He explains that wealth building is an invisible process, not a sudden spark. Consider a village clockmaker. He spends months carving and fitting individual wooden gears. To an observer, the work looks useless. For a long time, the machine does not tick. He fits one small gear at a time until the final piece is placed, and the system suddenly comes alive. Personal finance operates on the exact same mechanical logic, and building that machine begins with a strictly defensive foundation. This diagram illustrates capital defense. The central reservoir is your income. Channels leak fluid into voids of ego, toys, and status. Capital destroyed to impress others. By systematically patching these leaks and holding cash, the reservoir's level finally begins to rise. Without establishing this strict capital defense, the math fails. No amount of income generation can outpace the continuous bleed of uncontrolled spending over time. Once the defensive baseline is secure, the strategy shifts. You stop waiting for the perfect plan and begin building with whatever resources you currently have. Starting small and taking immediate action generates hard, actionable data. Waiting for perfection generates nothing. In the compounding engine, you never eat your seeds. Reinvest early profits back into the soil to let the core operation grow. Upon reaching critical mass, your strong tree can branch out into multiple income streams, ensuring you're never reliant on a single source. Wealth is not created by hunting for one massive payday, but by engineering a self-feeding system of reinvestment and scale. Rayan puts this blueprint into practice. He starts a small evening business selling homemade snacks from a simple stand. The initial launch is brutal. For days, he has 0 customers. People in town laugh at his effort, and the humiliation creates an intense urge to shut the stand down and walk away. This is the moment where the quiet of an empty street begins to feel louder than the ambition that started the project. Motivation has nothing to feed on here. Discipline is the only thing that dictates you stay at the post regardless of how you feel. Rayan stays. He takes the small profit from those first few sales and buys higher quality ingredients to improve the product. Then he reinvests the next month's profit into professional packaging and a second, larger stand. He eventually hires a helper to manage the sales while he uses the accumulated surplus to buy a delivery bicycle. Step by step, the snack business provides the capital to launch a local grocery delivery service. This chart tracks the reality of that journey. Notice the long, flat baseline of the early stages. Capital grows agonizingly slowly at first. This expanse of unrewarded effort is the slow phase where most people abandon their systems. Mr. Damon's final reality check is simple. You will fail along the way. Everyone fails. But only the people who stop trying become forgotten stories. By stacking small, quiet actions over time, the equation eventually flips. You transition from spending your life working for money to having a system that works for you. Motivation gives you motion, but discipline gives you direction, and direction builds lasting wealth.